Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you something that is very crucial for any guitarist to know and to add as almost an ornament or a tool you can call it to your playing. And what I'm talking about here is harmonics, and more specifically because I know we have a lot more beginners on this channel, we're going to be talking about natural harmonics today, but in a later coming video we're going to be talking about artificial harmonics as well. But first, to get the artificial harmonics right, it's really important that you learn the natural harmonics on the guitar. Now, if you don't know what harmonics are, they're basically these little sounds that you can make on specific spots of your guitar, like that. So those sounds, they're created, so there's a whole mechanism to it, but all we need to know is where the spots are and how to play them, and you get those beautiful sounds that are a little bit different from the usual notes that we play. So that's what harmonics are. So let's go into the next section of the video where I'm going to teach you 3 quick little different tips that you can use to get your harmonics nice and perfect. Alright, so the first thing that you need to know about harmonics is that natural harmonics can be found all over the fretboard. However, the main ones are found here on the 12th fret, and then on the 7th fret, this one here, and then on the 5th fret. Those are the main ones that also make the loudest sounds, just because of the way the guitar is built. There's other ones all around the place on the 4th fret, on some other frets, but the main ones that you need to be familiar with, which will come in very handy when you play some songs, are those ones. So we have 12th fret, 7th fret, and 5th fret over here. Moving on to the next spots where we have our harmonics. So this was our 12th fret here. Now, we're going to try our 7th fret here. Same exact process applies. So if I'm going to play them one by one, we want to place our finger. You can use a different finger because it's a little bit higher up here, but I still prefer to use my ring finger just because I have a lot more balance and it's easier to make that straight. And please be careful, you really need to have this straight over here. If you do it like that, it still works, but there's less of a chance that you're going to get them on this other end, especially if you're going to do them all at once like that. If you're going to do individual ones, it doesn't really matter. But when you're doing them all together, you get this finger here, and you slightly press it over. You don't want to be pressing it hard at all, because if you press it hard, the last ones get completely muted. So you want to have it slightly gently over here. And a great way to find out if your harmonics are actually right is to test them. So let's say if you're around here, you're not really quite on the spot. You start testing it, and you move down. There you go. You know, that's the sweet spot. So even if you can't find it perfectly at the start, just mess around a little bit on this area, and you find the sweet spot, and then keep the rest of them right there as well. So let's try that. So we've got our 7th fret here. You see I take my finger off after each one. If I was to play all of them together, I move my fingers back slowly, so as each one gets played, the finger goes off of it. And now, this is the most difficult one up here. So for this one, I might use my middle finger because this is a little higher up. This one here on the 5th string, they're a little bit quieter. So you will need to pluck a little bit harder. And to get this sounding nice, you will actually need to take your finger off a little bit more not aggressively, but take them off a little bit more instantly. So you get that spark in the sound. So if I was to, see, it doesn't make quite the best sound. But if I play each one of them, taking my finger off, and I'm plucking a little bit harder, that last harmonic here on the 5th fret, this one, is very hard to achieve. So if you're a beginner, I recommend you start all the way back here on the 12th fret, because these are the easiest ones. These are the main natural harmonics of each open string that we have. They're the same note just as a harmonic. Then you try these ones. And finally, your last step will be this one here. Start here, next level, and then your final level of natural harmonics should be here. So the most important part, and I guess the part that we'll be spending majority of our lesson focusing on, is actually how to achieve a good harmonic, because, I mean, if you just simply do that, it's not good enough. You want to have nice and bright sounding harmonics just like that. And the secret to doing that is it's all what you do in the left hand. So too often the problem that people make is pressing too hard. So actually the first thing you need to do when you're about to play a harmonic anywhere, whether it might be here, here, or here, is to get any finger. I prefer to use my ring finger, but you can use your middle finger or your index. It's a little bit more difficult with the index, so I prefer to get my ring finger. Try to get it as straight as possible. You can't really make it straight past the point, especially here with the 12th fret. You put it over, you see where this line is on my fretboard? I put it over this line. I don't even press it hard at all, just so that my finger is touching the strings. And then if you want to play one on the 6th string here, if you have it slightly just over that line, if you hold it like that, it makes that sound. But if you want it to be nice and bright, first of all, you need to do a rest stroke with your thumb. So your thumb comes back down on the next string when you play it. It doesn't just go freely, it lies down on the next string. And the other thing which you need to do, which is really good, is that you play it and take your finger off. You don't need to completely take your hand off. I mean, you can, but even if you slightly remove your finger, it's hard to see, but you can see the movement in my finger here. It makes that sound a lot louder. So let's try again. There it is. So I place my finger. Let's try it with another string. Let's try it with maybe our 2nd string here. So this time I'm using my index finger, but I'm still going to use a rest stroke there. I get my finger. Let's try it with a different finger. My middle finger here, slightly over that fret line there where my 2nd string is. And when I'm going to play, I'm going to take my finger away. Ready? And rest stroke as well. Just like that. You see, it makes a beautiful sound. If I was to not take my finger away, see, it gets muted out quite quickly. Or if I was to not use rest stroke, it gets a kind of crispy sound. But if you want that nice and warm sound, the best way is to use rest stroke and also use your fingers here. Before we do wrap up, I wanted to show you another way of playing your harmonics. I won't go into too much detail with this because this video is focused for beginners. But in the next video, this is going to be covered in more detail. This is not artificial harmonics yet, but it's a different way that we're going to use to play our harmonics. So instead of putting a finger from our left hand, we're going to get, so let's try this on the 12th fret. Let's try it on the 1st string here. We're going to get our index finger, gently press it over, same thing again. But then this time, we're going to use our ring finger here. You can't see it very well, but we're going to use our ring finger here to play the harmonic. So doing everything on one hand, like that. So I got my finger over, and with my ring finger, I gently pluck it and take the hand off. You can do this with other fingers as well, like your middle finger. But I see that nail sounded quite bad because it's not at the right angle. That's why I suggest using your ring finger. And this works very well with nails as well. So if you don't have nails, I recommend sticking to this version. But this is really good for when you're playing a song and this hand is occupied. So you're playing something else with this hand, but you want to play a harmonic somewhere. So you do it just with this hand. So then you can still hold your chord or whatever you're doing on this other hand. But this is a step for the more advanced people. Even for the beginners, I recommend just sticking with this the basic natural harmonics that I taught you today. And then in the next video, we'll be talking about artificial harmonics, as well as how you can use this technique, because this is the technique that you're going to need to use for artificial harmonics, because when you play your artificial harmonics, you're already holding down some notes on this hand, so you can't really use this hand to play your harmonics, which is why you will use this other hand, plucking and holding with the same hand on 2 different fingers. That's it for natural harmonics, guys, because I know this is quite a quick lesson, but I wanted to give you these little tips. So if you don't know how to play harmonics, and we're going to start using them a little bit more in the tutorials and the songs that we're doing on this channel. Just recently we did just the 2 of us, and some of the bits in that are going to require some artificial/natural harmonics, which is why I'm starting to teach you this slowly. And as well as that, it's just a great technique to have for any type of guitarist, regardless of the style that you're going to play, whether it be flamenco, classical, jazz, rock, whatever. Harmonics are going to be very useful in adding some ornaments. They're basically like a decoration for the guitar playing that you're going to do. So they're going to take you to the next level. I hope you did enjoy this. If you did, please give it a like and a subscribe. Soon I will be also posting the artificial harmonics video, as well as how you can use the technique on the same hand. So we help you gradually build it up. But first, go back over this video and make sure you understand everything and practice it quite a bit. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and keep practicing. Bye-bye.